Hello, what's up guys? I'm TonesBalones. I will be doing a Splatoon speedrun, going through the campaign as fast as possible, as you know. And we're starting with Girl Squid with purple eyes as per request of the staff. And we're going to start up the run in 3, 2, 1, go. So you notice the first thing we see in the game is the tutorial. Unfortunately, the way we have to reset this game is by deleting the save data that is on your Wii U, which means that when you start up the game, your Wii U is going to think that's the first time you've ever started up the game before. Meanwhile, I've started up the game maybe about 500 to 1,000 times. So, this tutorial is easy peasy. It gives you the Splatter Shot Junior for some reason, rather than the Hero Shot, which we will be using in the single player. And this is really unfortunate because the Splatter Shot Junior is the worst gun in the game, and if you use it, then I probably hate you. It's super inaccurate. I actually lose a lot of runs just in tutorial because of the spread of the bullets. And we get a nice super jump into Inkopolis, which will start up the run. I have to sit through the cutscene, and it'll give you a nice little moment to introduce me and the members of the couch here. So I'll start off. I'm TonesBalones, as I said before. I've been running this game since about July of last year, and I've held world record for a little bit over a year since I got it for the first time. And it was recently beaten, finally, by another runner named Moofish Get Out the Way. So after this marathon, I might be coming back and trying to grind that out. But the run is very optimized for the strats we have, and hopefully we nail all of them in this marathon for you guys. So I'll hand it off to people on couch with commentary.
Hi, I'm Johannian. I'll be couching for Tones, and I also speedrun Splatoon.
I'm Mari.
And I'm Kelly.
Hi.
You may have seen these two earlier when I was mashing through their text very, very fast. Unfortunately, we have Callie and Marie, but we don't have the grandfather, Captain Cuttlefish, who is the leader of the Squid Beak Splatoon and our guide through this nice journey, nice fast journey. So he's going to tell us a little bit about the backstory of why we're here, why this place exists, why the Octarians are not as cool as the Inklings, and I love all the little pictures in the background. They all look so derpy. Like, all the art design in this game is just blowing me away, especially, like, even the Zapfish. They're just the most derpy little things, and I just I laugh every time. Like, I think one runner made an emote of just like the straight picture that's in the background there as a derpy mode, and it's like I use it all the time when I'm in his channel. Here we jump into level 1, easy peasy. There's 2 ink colors on the ground. As the mechanics of the game say, when you're traveling through your own ink, you get a speed boost. When you're traveling through enemy ink, you actually slow down. So it's very important that we ink down a clear, coherent path of our own ink before continuing. Otherwise, we will lose a lot of speed. And the main purpose of this level is to teach you that distracting enemies will get them to turn around. And it's especially useful for the enemies like I just killed there that have shields. But it's also going to be used at several points during the run as a sort of consistency thing, because the enemy AI will randomly have God aim for some reason, and sometimes will kill you if you don't do the proper strats to distract them. And of course, introducing another easy mechanic. There's a lock here. It says you need a key, and then you find the key, and you continue on. Every level sort of has the same sort of feel to it. You complete a task in one section, and then super jump to another section, and keep doing this over and over. And of course, the speedrun strats is various ways of doing that faster with with sometimes unintended ways. And that was a pretty clean level 1. But level 1 is not the run killer of the game. The real run killer is level 2. This is what we call the cannonless strat, and those of you who know a little bit about speedruns have heard the word cannonless before. That's a throwback to the Super Mario 64 community, obviously, where the cannonless strat in Whomp's Fortress was, you know, this really, really hard trick that would kill runs early on. And now we have that as well, because at the end of the level here, there is a big cycle where a wall will move back and forth. And that cycle is global. So if I'm slow anywhere in this level, then I run the risk of missing the cycle. So it's pretty much mandatory that I play through this level perfectly and execute the cannonless strat perfectly in order to save a little bit of time, because every time you miss a cycle, it's about 6 seconds. And since the run is so optimized, you can't afford to lose that 6 seconds in World 1. Most of the time save in this run actually isn't strats and more just, you know, generic movement. I believe the hero shot will fire every 6 or 7 frames. I don't know the frame data that well. I'm not a competitive online player. But, you know, if it's just a matter of, you know, you're shooting 1 extra bullet every single time you shoot, then that all adds up to a lot of time saved. So, you know, when I did this run back at AGDQ, the world record was a 52:44, and right now the world record is a 52:09, which is, you know, first and second is 1 second apart. So all of those little tiny frames matter. Also, that was a perfect cannonless, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm pretty sure I have 100 orbs. I didn't check. Yeah. Oh my God, I have exactly 100. I completely forgot to mention, but we have these little power egg orbs, and we use them to buy upgrades in the game. We're only going to be using them twice, one to buy Seekers right now and one to buy Burst Bombs back in upcoming in World 2. And it's really, really important that we get Seekers before we enter this level, because Seekers just travel in a nice straight line and is a lot faster in this level than shooting, because there's a lot of straightaways. And they also travel up ramps, so I don't have to waste my time there. This is also technically another cycle-based level. I'm on a pretty fast cycle, so I can go to the right side here, which is slightly faster than going to the left side because of this this block here. All right, we made it. Excuse me. Thank you. Ooh. Okay. This will work. Nice. Sometimes randomly, the shots that you shoot onto that wall will not fire in the right place, because your gun is not 100% accurate in this game. And, you know, if my muscle memory says I have to shoot exactly 5 bullets in a line, and then one of the bullets goes off, then I run the risk of, you know, maybe not getting enough speed on the ground, or having a big hole in the wall where I can't climb up, and that loses a lot of time. But it happens pretty randomly. A lot of my time in this game has been making sure that the shot RNG doesn't make a huge impact on my runs. Here we have the first boss fight. His name's Octostomp. He does 2 things. He tries to smash you with his face, and he has really cute legs. What you see me do there, I'll show it again on every time I shoot the tentacle. Every time I'm trying to deal as much damage as possible, specifically in boss fights, I'm spamming the D-pad as fast as I can, because there's a glitch in single player only where every time you switch sub-weapons, my gun will fire a bullet regardless of the gun's cooldown. So the bullets that I fire from my gun also don't decrease in damage, so I just get a free rapid fire by spamming the D-pad. And since I don't have to move while I'm shooting the tentacle, then I can use my joystick thumb to mash the D-pad, and it works out really well. So that was a good boss fight. That was a really clean World 1. I think this might have been like a 10-11 or so. Now, that was a... I count the split of like when the fade out is on the music. So if he said 8 then, that might have been like a 10-10. That's good. That's really good. I couldn't have asked for a better World 1. So we're about a quarter of the way through the run. If you go by worlds, but World 1 is shorter than all the other worlds, because every other world besides World 1 has 6 levels, and you have to complete every single level before you continue. This is another really frustrating cycle level. These seekers that I'm throwing in the beginning are the most important thing in the level, and if you mess up that seeker, then it'll throw off the cycle for everything. Like the cycle to get up the big wall in the middle, and the cycle that is the spinning enemies at the end will all be thrown off. So you pretty much have to play perfectly throughout this whole thing to make sure that these cycles don't get messed up and you don't die anywhere. Here you go, left side. That's good. That wall there is really, really frustrating because when there's enemy ink on the wall and there's a small, little tiny bit of gap in between your ink and the enemy ink, you can't continue past the wall because it just kills all your vertical momentum, and it gets really frustrating, especially if you get really bad shot RNG and the bullets just leave a gap against your will, and you can't get up the wall. But again, perfect level. I don't know what I'm saying. Another really important part about optimizing this game was figuring out which order doing the levels fastest will be. And you see there I actually just unlocked the level, but I'm just going to skip right past it. And that's because I don't have enough orbs to buy burst bombs yet. And that level that I just unlocked is about 5 to 10 seconds faster when you use burst bombs optimally. So it's actually faster to just unlock it and super jump to it later after I already buy the burst bombs, because otherwise I'll be losing time trying to do it without. But you'll see more of that when I actually get to that level. This is what I like to call Five Guys. Shout out to Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Killed them all. Those guys are really stupid. If you don't position yourself right, then like they'll target you and deal a lot of damage. I think it only takes like 4 shots from them to kill you. So I think it's 4, maybe 5. Good. This level is actually really interesting. Shout out to the Japanese speedrunning community for bringing this strat to us, because it's probably one of the most interesting glitches in the game. Basically, you see these octolings here. The octolings are actually coded the exact same way that the inklings are, whereas their model is treated as if they are a playable character. So if you see here, I opened up the Zapfish, and you see the octoling will super jump from the back to the front, And since the Octoling travels through the Zapfish, the game thinks that we did because its model says, hey, you collected the Zapfish, but we didn't. The intended way to do that is actually go all the way around the base through a whole bunch of ink lines, and doing it that way saves about 8 seconds. Also, hey, this level looks familiar. This is the first of many Octa Striker levels, where there's this this big purple idiot that will shoot ink strikes at you if you stay out of ink for too long, and then at the end we're gonna have to kill him. But this is just a rehash of the tutorial level with enemies and purple ink everywhere. There's a strat here I'm going to do called the Octoling Quick Kill. Enemies will run away from sub-weapons when you throw them. So if I throw the Splat Bomb behind him, he'll run towards me, and I can just stand still and rapid fire. Okay. So here I'm going to spend the time to buy burst bombs. I don't really have to focus as much on getting the orbs for this one because I travel through so many levels that I'm never really in danger of not having 100. There's been literally one time, and it happened last week when I was doing D-Rust of this game, that I didn't have 100 orbs, and I was so pissed off because it's never happened before. It's not uncommon to have like 120 or so. This level is introducing a new mechanic of the fans. The fans weren't actually implemented online, well, they were. They are now in the map Piranha Pit. Oh, please. And if I feel like there's any gimmick from the single player that can be online, it's the fans. I don't think anything else in single player can fit. These fans I'm shooting now are really precise. You have to shoot them exactly 3 times before you move on, because as you see, if you only shoot them twice, then they don't move far down enough. But if you shoot them 4 times, then they actually move down too far, and you have to wait to get up to the next level. So that was an okay fans. The little third fan gave me a little bit of trouble. That's okay. So now we can just super jump back to this level, which you can do by tapping any level on the gamepad. And we're going to do this level really fast with burst bombs, hopefully. This is probably one of the most finicky levels in the game. There's a lot of really dumb things that can happen out of your control. Oh, okay. That guy's really scary because randomly he'll see you. I honestly don't know what triggers him to actually see you, but it happens, and he'll shoot the sponge. He actually doesn't shoot you. That's not what kills you. He shoots the sponge, and you fall off of it. So here, before we used to just jump over the octoballs, but it's actually faster to just walk forward the whole time and kill him. Uh-oh. Okay. So, wow. That's actually what we call Cannonless Part 2. Because you saw in the middle of that level, there was a cannon that we were supposed to use to just inflate all the sponges and kill all the enemies. But you can just run through it and throw the burst bombs at it, and it's a little bit faster. It was really sketchy in the last part there, though, because while I was going through it, the middle sponge only got a half fill, And when it gets a half fill, I can still make it to the third sponge, but I also run the risk of the third sponge being what we call a dud bomb, which sometimes randomly the burst bomb will hit a certain polygon of the sponge, and it doesn't actually inflate it when it's supposed to, and then you can't do anything about it, and you'll die. And if you die there, then you go all the way back to the whole sponge section, so it's about a 25-second time loss. This is Octonozzle. I like to call him Jamba Juice, or Octoschnoz, or what are those? Because he's got all the sneakers and whatever. The main thing about this boss is you got to shoot his little nipple tentacle things, and then he exposes his little meaty center on top of his head. And what you're supposed to do is actually travel up the side and walk on top of his head and shoot the tentacle from there. But when I throw a splat bomb on top, the tentacle will grow when it takes damage, so I can actually shoot it from the bottom because it grows and is in my gun's range. So I can just jump and shoot and rapid fire all at the same time. It's a pretty hard strat that saves about 6 seconds throughout this boss fight when you do it every time. You also run the risk of running out of ink, of course, because the splat bomb takes 80% of your ink, and of course you've been shooting the little tentacles the whole time, so you have to really manage your ink correctly. Go grab the scroll. Okay. Another good World 2. This is actually a good run. Also, to be honest, playing on this monitor is so sick. Shout out to the event staff for getting a nice BenQ brand TM monitor. Because I've never played on something that's like this good. Oh, I got a bad secret. Rip frames, dude. Alright, World 3 is where the magic happens. This is the last bit of challenge before I go to World 4 skip. This level is really straightforward. There's a lot of strats that look really cool, but it's really self-explanatory. You know, it's just a matter of getting in the ink rails. Oh, never mind. That's okay. Please die? Okay. Mommy! Alright, good. This is one of the most challenging parts about this level. Oh, no, please. Yo, shout out to pre-nerfing Zuka. I actually really hate this level. You know, it's fun and all, but sometimes you'll just lose time, you know, for really no reason. Like, I played it really well, but that probably would have lost like 3 or 4 seconds on my gold. That's okay. Up next, we're going to have Flutters, and Flutters is one of the worst parts about this game. I've lost a lot of runs to just nothing because of this level. Nothing at all. It's so bad. You see these giant little machines here. They're insta-kills if you travel underneath them. So they block you off of your path. And right now, they're not that big of a deal. In fact, there's ways to manipulate them and go around them like I'm about to do here. Just jump straight around him and go in the sync rail. But right at the end, I actually have to travel through this little like 4x3 grid where there's flutters everywhere, and the flutters are in a random position every time. So sometimes you'll get an RNG where the flutters are like in a perfect spot, so you can just grab the key guy and go. But other times you're SOL, and they'll cover your path, or they'll trap you, or you die, and it's this huge thing. So hopefully, please, this is so bad. Please don't go right. Please don't go right. He went right. Please, run away. No, what is this? Why are you here? All right, that wasn't that bad. It wasn't perfect, but it was not bad. I will take that. Okay. An important thing to note about that level is that if a flutter's in front of you, it's not a dead run. You can jump around them if you jump around the corner and just hug the wall. But that's really precise, and you really gotta practice and know how to react as well as you can to make sure that your runs just don't die every single time on flutters if you get a bad RNG pattern. Luckily, the enemy that I have to kill in that level is always in the same spot every time, so that's not a problem. Okay. Nice. That level's really short because it's actually one of the smallest multiplayer maps in Splatoon. And if you mess up any of those seekers, especially the one at the end, then the Octolings can just kill you for no reason. And that's a bad thing. Nice. They were going to unlock that level because we can reach it with our sub-weapons. And we'll super jump to it after this level. Here I'm going to go for a new strat. Nice. All right. That jump is really, really, really precise, and it only saves like half a second over doing it from the right side box strat, like the old way of doing it. But I got it really, really well. All right, that was sweet. That was sweet. That was sweet. Not gonna lie. This level coming up, though, can definitely give me trouble. It's one of the hardest levels to do consistently fast, but I've put so much effort into this level that it's by far my favorite level in the game because the cycles are so hard to get, and I'm one of very few amount of people that can get the fastest cycle consistently. And in order to get the fastest cycle, you have to do a lot of really precise jumps and trickery. Like this. Nice. Alright, we should be good. So what I just did there is the regular cycle skip, and if you're fast enough at this ending portion, then you can go for what's called super cycle skip, which is about half a cycle faster. Please, please. Oh my god, that was so sketchy. There we go. Booyah. Okay. This level here shouldn't give me that much trouble. But this is one of the hardest levels to learn, just like when you're starting to run the game, because the platforms are all invisible, so you gotta memorize where everything is to go fast. Unfortunately, you gotta kill those guys. I don't know why they made that requirement, but luckily they're not that smart. Okay. There's a checkpoint right here, but I'm going to skip over it because I'm cool, and I'm not going to die here, right? Of course not. Good. Sweet. The strat I just did there is called 1 second incline. It's a really dumb strat that you really don't have to do. That's why I called it 1 second incline, because it only saves 1 second. But I like doing it, and it's really fun, so might as well. This boss is Octowhirl. It looks like a cloister or a fortress, like a cloister fortress mix. Because Nintendo's really original with the character design. And, oh, sorry. All you need to know about this boss is that he travels in a straight line, and you have to trap him in your own ink. An interesting mechanic, though, is that all enemies in this game will only target the last place that they see you. So, for example, like, they won't see you in ink. So, for example, if I stand back here and I were to just sit in my ink, then he would actually, like, target me back where I was on the rotating platform, which is a really, really bad thing because he can go off center, which will not travel through my ink. So it's really important that I squid bag there. This is actually a defense for squid bagging, because squid bagging is super fun. But, like, actually, you just have to squid bag so that you recharge your ink, because you do use about your entire ink tank trying to make this ink pattern happen. So squidding will recharge your ink, but staying out of ink will also make sure he targets you. And that was a good boss fight. And now we get to travel to World 4 Skip, which is the worst trick in this game by far. Super inconsistent, super time loss. Like, it really makes me mad. And if I don't get it first try, then it rips the PB. Like, it's a mandatory first try World 4 Skip, or you can't get a PB anymore. Maybe if you have, like, a perfect run that, like, doesn't mess up anywhere except for World 4 Skip, maybe. But for the sake of the marathon, I'm going to try and get it first try. Okay. You see that little barrier on the left? Basically, I can manipulate the barrier's position to skip it completely and just land on the blocks behind it. Fudge! No! Why didn't that happen the first time? Oh my god. So, like, not to jinx anything, but that run was world record pace before World 4 skip. And second try, it probably just killed it. But this can still be, like, an insane run if I don't make any more mistakes. You know what's funny is I actually don't even have a timer that I can look at. I just know that it was world record pace. I've done so many runs of this that, please, get out of my way. That was such a weird position for him to be in. This is another one of those cycle levels. There's not much to it. The cycles are really slow, so I can waste a bunch of time if I make a mistake or something. Please. Unless I die. If I die anywhere, then like it'll just throw off all the cycles. Dying in this level is like a 30-second time loss overall. Even if you die in a place that's like a 5-second death, then you'll lose 30 seconds because the cycles are bad. No! Red! Okay. Dang, I haven't had to do the backup for this in a while. I was just slow on the skip portion. That's okay though. Oh no. Okay. That was so weird. So there is a little. That's like one of my favorite world movements there. It always looks really crispy. You just turn around, throw the seeker, shoot it twice, jump down all the way, and get to this level. Remember, a lot of testing has gone into routing these worlds. I must have spent like, an hour, maybe 2 hours, just like testing over and over again which route would be the fastest and which levels are accessible, which ones we can throw bombs at, stuff like that. Here we're at the skate park again, because this game really loves Black Belly Skate Park for some reason. Here I'm going to be doing a little manipulation here. Okay, so he targeted me, and if he targets me in exactly that spot, then he's guaranteed to throw an ink strike right as I start this fight. And when he throws an ink strike, he actually moves backwards and upwards, which lets me hit the burst balloon right behind him and quick kill him. I think there is like a faster way to do it. I don't know, like that's just the most consistent way that I've done it, and I've done it for a long time. And doing the quick kill is way faster than doing the other version, which I throw a splat bomb behind him. Okay, good. I actually have to listen for the kettle opening up because I kind of just threw bombs blindly into the open there, but I actually threw them downwards to hit the kettle that's below me, and I can just super jump to that level later instead of trying to travel to it because that level right there is just so out of the way and stupid. You can't reach it from anywhere else. This is another flutter level, but you can't lose nearly as much time in a worst case scenario than in the World 3-1. Worst case scenario, you lose like 5 or 6 seconds in this level, and that's only if the guy with the key that you need to unlock the super jump is in a bad spot. Like, these flutters here are always in a workable position. Like, if you're fast enough, they're never in your way. But this key guy, this charger up here, he decides whether or not it's good RNG. Where's he going? Oh, he's going way back in the corner. That's bad RNG. Ideally, you want him to be right in the center, because if he's in the center, then you don't have to spend any time to go out of your way. You can just go straight through and get to the vault. With that RNG, you might have lost like 5 seconds. That jump right there is really scary. If you don't hit the ink rail right, then the ink rail won't activate in time, and you just like fall right through it. And it's really frustrating because that'll kill a run if you die there. This level's actually really fun. It's the most dynamic as far as sub-weapon switching goes. You have to use every single sub-weapon. Where before, we really barely ever used the Splat Bomb outside of the first couple levels because the other weapons are so much better. But here we're actually going to use them really interestingly to get a quick kill somewhere in the end. Here I'm going to go for what we call Dumb Jump. It's dumb. That's why it's dumb. The alternative is to do this. This is like slightly slower. I think the dumb jump only saves like half a second if you do it perfectly. It's the same speed if you do like the safe version of it. But I barely do that in runs, especially good runs. Okay, here I'm going to use the Splat Bomb for the quick kill. Ah, boo. Alright, that's still fine. Recovered. So what was supposed to happen, obviously, the Splat Bomb was supposed to kill the Octoling as soon as it spawned. But since it didn't, like, I was manipulating the Octoling's position so that they always spawn in the right place. The Octolings will always spawn in the corner that's opposite where you are. So by going off the right side of the platform, the Octoling will spawn on the left, so I can throw the Splat Bomb as I'm falling. And then if I go up the left side of the middle sponge, then I can get the Octoling to spawn on the right, which will give me the other quick kill. But since I messed it up, I just tried to kill that first Octoling as fast as I could, and then set myself up in the back right next to the super jump panel, and manipulate the position so that the Octoling was spawning exactly the corner I was looking at. So that was a really good backup. It could be much worse. Here we're going to go for Suicide Jump, which is a lot less dangerous than it sounds. Throw a Splat Bomb at that guy, which will save ourselves one Inkzuka shot, make it a little bit faster. That's why that Inkzuka is really important. I grabbed that Inkzuka way back in the beginning of the level, and if you die in between grabbing the Inkzuka and getting that part, then you lose a lot of time because those charges there are like slightly out of the range of your gun, so it's really hard to kill them. Here I grab the Bubbler so I can just go straight underneath the flutter. A nice little damage boost. And there we go. That's the last level before the final boss. What's the timer at? 45 something? Oh, 45. Okay. This would be a 50. This would be a sub 53. Assuming I get the final boss correctly, which I probably will. DJ Octavio is like surprisingly a really, really, really long boss fight. It takes, you know, I always just say 8 minutes to do the boss fight because from the time that I split the last level to the end of the game is about 7 minutes and 53 seconds. So anytime I'm like, yeah, I need an estimate when I'm watching someone, I just add 8 minutes to the timer whenever they split. Octavio's going to have 5 phases. First phase is super simple. He's only going to shoot 1 fist at a time. There's no chance of skipping a cycle. But after phase 1 is where things get really interesting. And I use his mechanics against him and basically abuse him to take double knockback and get him to where I need to go really, really quickly. Like I said before, back in Octawhirl, the bosses will only target the place that they last see you. So you can use this in Octavio to just like stand back and swim through your ink. And these missiles are just going to fire way back here. That was a bad idea to look at them. Here I'm actually going to stay back here because if he scooches forward, his fist is going to be closer to me. But he's also going to get knocked back to the position he needs to go anyway. So that just saves a little bit of time. And you see the missiles hit back there because that's where I last was. So starting after this phase, he's going to start shooting 2 fists at me at a time. And what's interesting about when he throws 2 fists is that if he's hit by the second fist, right after he was hit by the first fist, then he actually only takes half knockback. So what I'm going to do is hit the first fist as fast as I can, and then delay the second fist as much as I can, which will throw off his timer because he's going to recover from the first hit before the second hit hits him, and he's going to take the full knockback from the second fist rather than only half knockback, which will skip a cycle. I'm going to do that on the next set of fists, not this one, because it's a lot safer to do it on the second one. Here I'm going to manipulate my position so that he actually turns himself, and when he rotates himself, this fist will be closer. Nice. What I did there is I shot the fist so fast that the second fist just didn't have a chance to come out. And that's the best case scenario because it's not any slower, but it also guarantees that you get the cycle skip because he's always going to run out of time before before the second fist comes out. And of course I'm rapid firing the subwoofers. That's what I call the giant missiles there, that make subwoofers, because you can shoot them back faster. Okay, here I have to delay the fist. Nice. And I have to rush through this, like super rush. Because if I don't get here fast enough, then he'll just scooch forward. Because he'll just end up targeting the last place I was. And he moves forward if you're farther back. So you have to move really fast there. Phase 3 is one of the hardest phases to do. The old strat for Octavio used to be using this Inkzuka to do the exact same thing that I'm doing now to skip cycles. But since we have the strats to do it without the Inkzuka, I can just save the Inkzuka for phases 3 and 5 and shoot the subwoofer back way faster because the Inkzuka has way bigger range and will insta-kill it and send it back instantly. Phase 4 is kind of unique where this fist, or the number of fists he needs to get to the back is like one less than normal. So usually you would have to hit 2 fists back, but you only have to hit 1 fist plus a cycle skip plus a regular cycle. So I just skipped that 1 fist so that this fist is really close to me right now. Good. Best case scenario. Phase 4 is like the hardest one to do a delay fist on, where like say I missed that instant fist, he would have it would have been really hard to save it, so to speak. And of course, after this phase, we're going to get the best song in the game, played by yours truly on the couch. Oh, hello. Everybody dance. It's surprisingly hard to dance while I'm mashing the A button. All right, so I did the cycle skip. That's really the hardest thing I have to worry about in this phase. On a casual level, this is definitely the hardest one because there's so many things that come at you all at once. And if you don't know what's going on, then it's hard to follow, and you can get sniped by something. But missile cycles are always the same, so I can just relax and shoot them as I need. Nice. All right, time is coming up when when Octavio hits the machine again after I shoot him. That'll be time. There we go. Right side. Time.
Your time was 52:58.
50? That's exactly what happened at AGDQ. Literally the exact time. Consistency. It pays off. Sub 53, that's a really good run. There's only 2 people in the world that have a sub 53 time, and they're both 1 second apart. Yay, midnight party. All right, that's pretty much it. Thank you all people at Smash the Record for having me, and I will probably be preparing for pools soon at 2 o'clock, and I will get my butt handed to me because I suck at Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Same.
Yeah.
No, you're going to win.
No.
Top 4 make it out, man.
No, Lucky's in my pool, dude.
All right, good luck then.
Yeah.
All right. This has been TonesBalones. You can follow him at twitch.tv/TonesBalones. I'm sure he has a great stream, and you should definitely follow him there. Is your Twitter also TonesBalones?
It's TonesBalones_.
TonesBalones_. You can type in !runner in chat, and links to all that are in there. Links to his stream are in the description. And keep these donations rolling, everybody.